Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Thursday, May the 15th. We're happy to have you. Welcome in. It's a great night to talk about Cam Ward and national respect and what it will take for the Titans to just get a little taste of it, just a semblance of it. You're going to hear from the NFL's vice president in charge of schedule making. I'm sure that's not his official title, but that's what we're going to call him tonight. You're going to hear from Titans rookies talking about Cam Ward and how much respect he is already earning at rookie minicamp. And now that the veterans have reported, the next time we will speak to them will be the 20th, as a matter of fact, which I just realized I am probably going to be out of town for. The 20th is a Tuesday. I will be out of town for that. But we are going to dive into what it is going to take for Cam Ward and by nature of Cam Ward, the Tennessee Titans, to earn some of this national respect that you so desperately crave, understandably so. We will dive into that together. We're looking forward to talking about it on all these different streaming platforms, and we appreciate you guys hanging out. We invite you to, of course, share the show as we get ready to have this Cam Ward dialogue here tonight. We will get into that. We will also talk about a weekend bounce back regarding the schedule release and the game this season that can do the most to hurt the Titans' national perception. So it will be a relatively easy show for us to talk about, to digest, and to dive into. Forgive me, I'm going to butcher this name. Is it Okai on YouTube, who says, "Aloha, Buck. Any updates on the trip to Hawaii?" Well, I am actively advocating for the Titans to do what the Rams are doing, which is to have mandatory minicamp in Maui, which sounds great. They are calling it Rams Maui Camp instead of minicamp. I don't think the Titans are going to coalesce to my demands or acquiesce to my demands at this point. Instead, they're going to send us to Tampa Bay and Atlanta for the preseason, which sounds, not great in the month of August. Much rather be in Maui, but I'm jealous of the Rams, and I hope that they have a great time, and I hope that the Titans make that trip eventually. But we're not here to talk about mandatory minicamp tonight. We're here to talk about respect and the lack of it that the Titans are getting, even though, you guys know how I feel about this. I don't think they've done anything to earn people's respect at this point in time, but that's what we're here to discern. B-Bird says, "Is Sam good? Haven't seen him since the draft." Yeah, as far as I know, Sam got a different job. Sam is actually, I don't know if Sam had to move or what's going on with Sam. But all I know is he got a different job. Sam's doing great, as far as I know. Actually, you know what? I just realized, Robert, I haven't talked to him since he took a different job. So I should probably call him at some point and congratulate him on his new job.
Oh, well, you didn't talk to him when he had this job. So.
That's not his fault. That's my fault. Either way, we are. We appreciate you guys stopping by. We appreciate when you share the show. I don't talk to a lot of people. It's all right. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch in the comment section. If you want to dive in, we would be happy to have you there, and we will talk about all the different things that Cam Ward has to do to earn the national respect and what the Titans can do to make people want to watch them at this point in time. Jared Stillman's burner. I actually talked to Stillman earlier today about some stuff. Says Buck has always been fake. No, it's just my forehead. The forehead is the only part of me that's fake. It's Botox, but the rest of it, authentic, baby. Anyway, we will work our way through all of these things on the Primetime program. All right, share the show around. I'll tell you who it's presented by, and then we'll go ahead and talk about this entire ordeal, and then never talk about schedules again for the rest of the time, because I'm sick of schedule talk, and I'm sure you are too. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time from the VIP Play Studios. I'm your host, Buck Rising. I'm proud, as always, to be presented to you by the aforementioned VIP Play app. Download it today. It is exclusively for you in the state of Tennessee, and you can bet on over 200 leagues in the VIP Play app. You can also get $5, bet $5 to get $100 in bonus bets. VIP Play, promo code ATOZTN. In the comment section is how you get that done. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Online at tworiversford.com. Quality American-made Ford vehicles and award-winning customer service is what they offer. tworiversford.com for more details. And, of course, TrueMav Fitness in the Gulf. Now, Worth Campbell, the owner of TrueMav Fitness, but the person who I go to for personal training at TrueMav Fitness. He's in London, so I'm not going to go to TrueMav Fitness tomorrow, but I do love my TrueMav Fitness Fridays when Worth is stateside, and you will enjoy them too. Whether it's the group fitness classes, personal training like I do, or you can just sign up for a membership workout in their awesome open gym as you please. Your first workout is free as a Middle Tennessee resident at TrueMavFitness.com today. So there are all manner of different things that the Titans are up against. First and foremost, and Robert, I will go to you again. You said that I was too harsh last night on prime time when we were doing the radio show today. In what respect would you consider that I was, or would you say that I was too harsh in talking about the Titans schedule release? I would cede the floor to you for a moment.
Just your tonality when you address the honorable judge, and I believe you dropped the word that shall not be spoken yesterday.
What, like I just want a hot dog?
Yes, yeah. I think you were just like, you're just not good. You're not good. You've got to win games first, and then they'll give you some little piece of respect. But you guys suck. There's whale poop, and then there's you. Like you just kind of went off the deep end. Like I feel like you could have been a little softer. That's all I'm saying. Not harsh as in your message. Like I think everybody agreed and agrees with you that they weren't good in the past. But it was just you being like, they're terrible. They're just awful. They suck. They suck.
All right. I appreciate your feedback. Thank you for your time.
No problem. Have a good one.
So, all right. Maybe my tone was a little excessive at that point, but like I wanted to avoid doing too much of that. And I tried my best to steer myself out of it after a while because I felt like I was just continuing to spin my wheels on nobody wants to watch you because the league doesn't care about you. But I don't know how else to softly put that message in front of you in a way. You're never going to be receptive to that, nor do you have to be, okay? But I do want to, at some point, avoid the annual discussion that we have of, all right, why are the Titans not on national television? Well, nobody wants to watch the Titans in the NFL world. They are among the smallest fan bases anywhere nationally. They have no stars on the roster. There is not a single solitary household name on the Tennessee Titans, save Cam Ward. Cam Ward will be more of a household name than anybody on that roster. Calvin Ridley, probably a close second, but that's more because of the gambling suspension than anything else, I would venture a guess. And with this specific situation, I don't know how to softly say the league isn't interested in propping you up. That is something. Jeff Simmons, I mean, okay, maybe if you polled one fan from 31 other NFL teams, how many of them would be able to tell you who or name Jeff Simmons? I bet 16 out of 31. 16 out of 31. That to me does not indicate star. He's like, and you guys know how I feel about Jeff. He's an above average football player that, has not lived up to expectation based on the amount of money that he's paid. Now, I know that there are way bigger defensive tackle contracts in the league today since Jeff signed that contract, and his contract is very reasonable, but the injuries have bogged him down. He's kind of like in Lawan status for me. Lawan, in fact, I think has Lawan, or has Jeff even reached Lawan's status of caliber player? Taylor was a 3-time Pro Bowler. Jeff has been to at least one Pro Bowl, or has been at least voted to one Pro Bowl. Perhaps Robert can look that up for me. But Jeff has not reached the caliber of defensive tackle that Taylor did as an offensive tackle. And Taylor, that happened very quickly, and it was over almost as quickly as it happened, right? Because after the PED suspension, or rather after the ACL tear, Taylor was never the same, and he didn't live up to the contract that way. Jeff, I don't think, has ever reached that level of, all right, he is a top 3 player at his position. And he deserves to be talked about as such. Now, maybe he disappoints after the fact if he was top 3 at his position. All right, so Jeff has been to 3 Pro Bowls, 2-time second-team All-Pro. Taylor is a 3-time Pro Bowler. So you might make the argument that Jeff's resume is better. Taylor was never an All-Pro. You could make the argument that Jeff's resume is better because Taylor was never an All-Pro. Jeff has been at least a second-team All-Pro, not a first-team All-Pro, but that's fine. There's a lot more interior defensive linemen than there are left tackles to pick from. Lawan was a high-level player for about, I would argue, 3 years. I would probably say the same of Jeffrey, but it's not, that's not like a personal shot or anything like that. I don't know people will take it that way or whatever, but he's the 4th best interior defensive lineman on his best day, right? Chris Jones, Quinnen Williams, who am I forgetting? Aaron Donald's obviously out of the league at this point in time. There are a couple of other defensive tackles. Fisk, honestly, had a better year than Jeff Simmons did. There are a couple of different players that I would pull from the position. I think that, okay, maybe I could make the argument for top 3, but I couldn't make it last year, right? I mean, he wasn't even, I don't even think he would be regarded as top 20 at his position, and he was working through an injury. We know he had the bum elbow, all these different things. I don't want to get bogged down in the Jeff Simmons conversation. Jeff is Dexter Lawrence. Thank you. Dexter Lawrence and Jeff and Dexter in the same draft class, significantly better, significantly more impactful player than Jeff Simmons. So far, can Jeff change that narrative? Absolutely. Should Titans fans root for him to do exactly that? Absolutely. But like Jeff has never been able to crack the top 3 at his position that way. So to me, that's not a star, especially at the interior defensive lineman. It's an above average football player, and Jeff, you're a better football team for having Jeff Simmons than you are not. But you have to understand, I mean, it's like Jarrell Casey. Jarrell Casey was a good football player for a long time. But the vast majority of NFL fans were like, who? For his entire career. And that's no disrespect to Jarrell. I have a ton of respect for Jarrell. But the position that he plays and the franchise that he plays for, nobody gives a shit. Like, it's just no Derrick Henry. As Jared still, you don't have a Derrick Henry. That's the easy. You don't even have a DeAndre Hopkins. And like Hop at the time that he came to the Titans was not DeAndre Hopkins, right? But he was still a 1,000-yard receiver. He's still the most famous name on the team. Cole says Jeffrey Simmons has more career sacks than Lawrence. What are you saying, Buck? Well, I don't give a shit about sacks. Harold Landry had a bunch of sacks. He's a cleanup artist. Guys, sacks are a flawed metric, all right? And that's a different conversation for another day. But like career sacks, I mean, did he win that one-on-one? Did he clean up for somebody else? Was that a situation where he was, where it was, an at the line of scrimmage thing? How much do you put the emphasis on sacks? For a defense, sacks are a good metric to evaluate. For an individual, pressures are what I would value. And Jeff, he just hadn't been pressuring the quarterback at a high enough level. And certainly not the way that Dexter Lawrence and the rest of those players that I mentioned have been doing. And Chris Jones is obviously at the top of the sport since Aaron Donald retired. Nobody's disputing that. So, but I mean, not to dismiss sacks entirely. Obviously, you have to be there to make the play. But I'm not like Harold Landry had 9 sacks last year, and nobody would argue that Harold Landry is an above average player at this point in his career. So you are entitled to your opinion. I would just say he needs to be better if he is going to be. He needs to be Chris Jones, and he's not Chris Jones. So he's not a star at that position. I am looking at the Tennessee Titans and seeing you guys aggravated by all of this schedule nonsense. And it is nonsense, right? Because at the end of the day, well, in fact, let's get into your Two Rivers 4 Take, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Which game on the Titan season, or which game in the Titan season can get Cam Ward the most recognition? That's the question that we will ask you guys on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. We will discuss at length together. right after I remind you that your Two Rivers Ford take is made possible by the South's most trusted Ford dealers, Two Rivers Ford. Quality American-made Ford vehicles, award-winning customer service on offer. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. For more details, they're having an awesome event, a free event, with all kind of great door prizes for you Saturday, 9 to 11 a.m., 76 Belinda Parkway in Mount Juliet. Blue and you can celebrate Police Week with Two Rivers Ford. They'll have free Chick-fil-A biscuits while supplies last, and great door prizes like tickets to the Nashville Zoo, tickets to Holiday World Splash and Safari, which I know Bert has enjoyed. Hell, I've even been to Holiday World in my high school career. It's been a long time, but you will enjoy it. Have a great time. Blue and you, Two Rivers Ford, this Saturday, 9 to 11 a.m. So your Two Rivers Ford take. The question becomes, as you look at this Titans season, which game on the Titans schedule can get Cam Ward the most recognition? We will discuss at length together. There's a couple of different games that come to mind here as I look at this Titans schedule, and I'll throw it up for you. Not throw it up, but throw it up in front of you at this point in time. So we know that the 3 o'clock window games are week 1 at Denver. You've got week 5 at Arizona, week 6 at Las Vegas, week 8 at the Colts is a 3:25 game, ironically enough, which is the closest to prime time that the Titans are going to get this year. And then you have week 15 at San Francisco is the additional 3 p.m. window game, with 3:25 in week 8 at Indy being the closest thing to a nationally televised broadcast that Cam Ward will be a part of. Those are the later afternoon games. There will be less inventory at that time. There will be more opportunities for people to see Cam Ward. The rest of them are noon slates, no prime time. We understand this. So, of these games, which game has the ability to sway opinions the most? That if Cam Ward goes out there and busts his ass and wins a game, or at least performs at a high enough level that we're talking about him as, all right, this is one of those guys that belongs at the NFL level, clearly and obviously, no doubt this guy is on track to be a future franchise quarterback, a future face of the franchise, right? Which game would come to mind? And I'll put the schedule in front of you. Again, I think there's a couple of different games that you could choose from. Week 1 at Denver honestly feels like a great opportunity because it's the worst case scenario for a rookie starting quarterback. You are going on the road against one of last year's best defenses that theoretically got better, adding Jahdae Barron, the rookie corner out of Texas, across from Pat Surtain, the reigning defensive player of the year. They were one of the best teams, if not the best team, at sacking the quarterback last year. Defense as a defense, that matters more than individual sacks to me, but we can have that conversation, like I said, another day. And they've got what would have been the offensive rookie of the year in Bo Nix in a world where Jaden Daniels didn't exist. Now, Jaden Daniels was obviously excellent last year, well-deserving, but Bo Nix was also great and got them to the playoffs. So if they were to upend Denver at home in a 3 o'clock window, that would probably be the answer. The question is, are they capable of that? Are they a good enough football team around Cam Ward to help him do that? The way that these rookies are talking about Cam Ward coming out of camp, yet, I mean, you can bet against him. They're going to be underdogs. Nobody would fault you for betting against the Titans this year, especially after last year, how horrible they were against the spread. But this year should be different. And the way that the entire organization is talking about this quarterback right now at least gives you the hope that he can keep them in the fight.
Just new guys to surround yourself with, great culture guys like Cam and Xavier, and obviously Fem on defense.
What impressions of Cam after getting a run with him for a couple days?
Yeah, he's been great. He's just a great leader, super easy to talk to, super easy to connect with, super easy to communicate with on the field. We've been coming in and watching some film in the morning time with some of the other receivers and obviously Xavier, but the chemistry is just beginning to click for all of us, and it's super fun to be out there with them.
How's it been like to work with Cam over the course of the past couple of days?
It's been great, yeah. It's he gets the ball out really fast, which is great, and it's something that I have to get used to for sure. And so I'm excited to work with him in the future.
What's the biggest adjustment you have to make to that effect on your end?
Oh, you just have to be ready. You know that he's going to be on time every time, and so you have to have that in mind every time. Like if you're late, you're late, and because he's not going to be late.
Every time?
Yeah, he's going to be on time every time.
What was it like on the one rep? You ran and the ball was a little low. You dropped it, and he kind of like pointed out, "My bad," and made you do the rep again. What kind of is that? What kind of leadership and all does that show from a guy like that?
Yeah. You just got to get it while it's hot, is what we say. If there's something that's wrong with the rep, you just run it back so you make sure you get it right and move on from it.
Is there anything unique to how you and Cam so far have come together, like from what you've seen before as far as working with a quarterback and learning the scheme and just getting to know him?
Yeah, I think we're just trying to work through it and just, put as much time as we can into it. And that's really all you can do. And so I've been happy to do that with him so far.
What have been your initial impressions of Cam, and how have you enjoyed working with him the past couple of days?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's exactly what people think he is. I think that, he's a really good leader. He has that presence on the field when he's out there. Then he's really talented. He throws the ball really well, just like you'd expect him to.
When you ran early at Hurricane, you're a Gator. What was that like?
He gave me a little stuff, but not too much. We're Titans now, so that's all that matters.
You said Cam has that presence about him on the field. What about how he acts gives you that impression?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just he does things the right way, like he comes in the building early, works hard, and at the same time he has that confidence. You know what I mean? He knows the work he puts in, and what he's capable of doing. But at the same time, he knows he has to work hard and continue to improve. And I think that rubs off on everybody else.
That process of getting to know to quarterback, you had to do that quickly last year with Mertz and Lagway, two quarterbacks. And what was the key to doing that, and what did you learn from there that you could roll forward to getting that relationship with Cam?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of twofold, right? Like being detailed in the playbook, understanding kind of the entire scheme, and then also just being willing to put the time in. That communication between the quarterback and the receivers. I already talked to Cam. Like I was like, do whatever you need me to do. I'm gonna go out there and do my best to do that and execute that. And Cam's been great working with us receivers, and I'm excited to continue to work with him and then get with the veteran guys and learn from them as well.
All right, so those are the three new pass catchers for Cam Ward. That is, in order, Gunnar Helm, the fourth-round tight end, Alec Iamaner, the fourth-round wide receiver, and Chimere DK, another fourth-round wide receiver. It went DK, Helm, Iamaner in the order that they were drafted on day 3. Three new pass catchers, all three of them in the fourth round. The vets will be able to speak on Cam Ward and everything that's gone down on the 20th. In fact, I just got an email today about the next media availability. Let me double check that for you. It will be, yes, Callahan and select players available at 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday morning. So that will be the next opportunity. And then Wednesday will be the next practice that we get to speak or that we get to watch and then talk to players after the fact. It'll just be a press conference next Tuesday. So a lot of talk there about Cam Ward and all the things that he brings to the table from his new rookie classmates as they try and learn and grow together. But the question is, what game on the Titans schedule gives him the best opportunity to earn that national respect? And I really don't think there's a better opportunity, even if they lose and he plays well, because they're not going to be favored against the Broncos on the road or the Rams at home. And Robert told me today that in fact, if I'm correct, Robert, you can nod or one way or the other if I'm incorrect. The only game that they are currently favored in is week 3 at home against the Colts by 1.5. That's the only game on the schedule that they're currently favored in. Again, those are way, way, way advanced lines. That's offshore stuff. But still, they can't even get the 3 points at home against the Colts. They're 1.5-point favorites against a team that has no earthly idea what they're doing at quarterback in 2025. So, or at least we don't think they have any idea what they're doing at quarterback in 2025 between Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson. The question for them is, all right, how much can they acquit themselves in the first 3 weeks of the season when they're probably going to start 1-3? If they were to win a game, I would probably pick that Colts at home game. I don't think they're going to beat the Rams. I don't think they're going to beat the Broncos. But, we'll let the results play out. That's why they play the games, is the age-old cliche. But that is probably the thing that jumps out to me the most as far as the Titans and as far as Cam Ward. That, I think, would be a great game, a first opportunity for him to take advantage of some week 1 weirdness and try and, announce himself at the NFL level. Lone Star Titans is 3-1. Well, that would be so you would beat then. Who would you lose to? in that situation as we look at the schedule, because I mean, theoretically, I could see you beating the Houston Texans. I didn't think you had any business beating the Texans last year, and you did that. So your first 4 weeks are at Denver, home LA, home Indianapolis, at Houston. I mean, I would probably go the opposite. I would probably say 1-3. I don't think they're better. I mean, I honestly don't think that they are better than any of those 4 teams, but I do think they have a better quarterback situation than Indianapolis does. But I do think the Colts have a better team. The Texans, the Rams, the Broncos have better teams than do the Titans. And we know this is a team sport. It is the ultimate team sport. So I'd probably go the inverse. I'd probably say 3-1, but like I said, that's why we see them play the games. Vols times 8 says I'd be happy to start at 1-3. And I don't, I know 1-3 wouldn't feel good, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Again, it depends. The context matters so much. The context matters a great deal. How do they look in these games? Are they getting their doors blown off like they were last year, where they lost 7 games by 10 or more points? Then, of course, the conversation is much different. They're a dead fish. They have no business being on an NFL field. Are they in more one-score games this year? Then we can start to have a conversation about how much closer they can get to those kind of teams. Austin Hall says, come on, Buck, be optimistic any given Sunday. Why the hell would I be optimistic? For what? I'm not pessimistic either. I'm realistic. Guys, you maybe you have the 1 in 1,000 chance to pull off the Jaden Daniels season. Maybe. But in reality, that shit doesn't happen. It happened for CJ Stroud, kind of, but not to the degree of Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels went to the NFC Championship game. If you were going to be realistic based on the roster construction and the teams that you are facing, it is more likely that you end up 1-3 than you do 3-1. So you can try and, Austin, I don't blame you for being optimistic. I'm not hating on you for being optimistic, but don't try and tell me to be optimistic. What do I give a shit about optimism for at this point in time? Jack Ripper with a great comment. Realist with a face full of Botox, LMFAO. It's really just my forehead and around my eyes because my eyes get a little squinty and I don't love that. So it's really just like the top half of my face. Rest, we're doing great. So like half realist, but it's a great comment by Jack. So all that to say, there is nothing wrong with trying to manifest these things into existence. You're a fan of the team. You should root for the team. Don't ask me to root for your team. I'm not going to root for you. I'm not going to root against you. I am going to be there, and we will talk about the things that happen. And as we get ready to talk about those things, then we will talk about the way that we see them ahead of time, and we'll move forward as a result. That's just what it is. Leal said it. Says Ravens fan, by the way. I don't know how I got here. Bert's probably recruiting people at this point in time. He's fist bumping in the screen that you all can't see, but he's very happy to have another one of him wandering around here. Anyway, something else that needs to be discussed as we talk about Cam Ward's opportunity to earn recognition. Which game this season could hurt the Titans' national perception the most? On Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch, in the comment section, you will hear from one of the people responsible for making the schedule. You'll hear from him on why the Titans didn't have a primetime game at this point in time. We will dive into that right after I remind you, and you guys can tell me which game you think has the opportunity to hurt them the most. We talked about helping them. Now we will talk about hurting them. Which game on the Titans schedule, and here's the Titans schedule for your review, has the most opportunity to hurt their perception as far as earning primetime opportunities, because that's ultimately what this is about. We will talk about it together at length right after I remind you that the Primetime program is presented by VIP Play, where the world comes to play. That's right, it's VIP Play with over 200 leagues to wager on, all your favorite bet types, and the VIP Players Club sweepstakes. Every bet you make on VIP Play gets you entries into their monthly sweepstakes. You'll earn 1 entry per bet, 1 entry per dollar bet, and 10 times your entries on parlays and same-game parlays. VIP Play app is now live in the state of Tennessee, so download it today. You can get your early welcome bonus or VIP Players Club status at VIPPlayApp.com. That's VIPPlayApp.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. Must be 21 plus and in the state of Tennessee to bet at VIP Play. All right, so if The Broncos game has the opportunity to help them the most. Which game has the opportunity to hurt them the most? And forgive me, I'm not totally clear on this person's title, but he is a vice president of the NFL. He is directly responsible, one of the people directly responsible for making the schedule. And he was doing an interview with the Ross Tucker podcast. And Ross Tucker asked him, why is Cam Ward, the number one overall pick, not on primetime at all?
Yeah, it wasn't intentional. I mean, you know how this works. We've got probably a dozen schedules in front of the commissioner in that last week. Some of those had the Titans on Monday Night Football. Some of them had the Titans in the TBD pool for Saturday for the NFL Network. It wasn't a conscious effort going in maximum 0 Titans primes. It was more about a mixture of all the rest of what has to go into the soup. You know, you don't draft your way into prime time. You play your way into prime time. So,
and I think that's a completely reasonable explanation. A lot of you, based on the feedback that we got last night, assumed that just because you sucked in 2024 and that gave you the right to draft a quarterback number one overall, that should just gift you a primetime game. No. For what? What participation trophy ass bullshit is that? You draft your way into primetime game? In what world? Now, here's the catch. There are plenty of other teams who can draft their way into primetime because the rest of the country cares infinitely more about the teams. I would argue that the Titans are probably, if they're not the least from a national standpoint, if they're not the least interesting team in the NFL from a national standpoint, then they're 31. Because a lot of people are explain the Falcons and Dolphins and us a few years ago when we were good with that logic. Well, you didn't draft your way into primetime. You played your way into primetime. You had something that nobody else in the world has. You had a Derrick Henry. You don't have that shit anymore. You don't have a star player on this roster. You have a quarterback who you're hoping is going to be a star. But Cam Ward has done jack shit in the NFL. He's not like Cam Newton, for example. Cam Newton was a national champion. He was a Heisman Trophy winner. He took the college football world by storm. He had all manner of media momentum, and he was still on a 6-10 Panthers team that didn't have a primetime game, but he played his way into it. He broke all manner of rookie rushing and passing records. Shit, he had more passing yards as a rookie in Carolina than the Titans have ever had in the 28 years of Titans football. He had over 4,000 yards passing. There is still not a Titans or Bears quarterback, for what it's worth, that has had in that era 4,000 yards passing. And that that ignores the 700 yards he had on the ground. He was excellent, Cam Newton, in his rookie season. And he made people go out of their way to want to watch Cam Newton. He became a marquee player. Cam Ward has the opportunity to do that too, but they're not just going to give it to him. I will explain to you the Falcons because the Falcons are very easily explained. So let's go down the list. So their first primetime game is I don't know whether I'm just going off the times. I don't have the dates in front of me as I look at ESPN.com, but the first primetime game is week 2. Who is it against? It's against the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings deserve primetime. So it's not a Falcons primetime game. It's a Vikings primetime game. We go now to the week, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Week 5 game for the Falcons. Their second primetime game. It's a 6:15 p.m. kick. Who do they play? They're home versus the Bills. Is it a Falcons primetime game? No, it's a Bills primetime game. It's a Josh Allen primetime game. Then the very next week, they're on Sunday Night Football. Who are they playing? The Niners are not at the top of their power, but it's a national fan base. It is one of the highest rated teams when you put them on television anywhere in the league. The Niners, it's not a Falcons primetime game. It's a Niners primetime game. The Colts is a Europe game, an international game. We won't count that. Where else are we? The Bucks, that could be the division on the line. That's late in November. At that point in time, that is the only one that you could probably say, all right, what the hell are we doing with Bucks and Falcons? But that is still with the division on the line. And then the Rams, again, it's a Rams primetime game. It's not a Falcons primetime game. The Falcons are just the opponent. Also, Atlanta is, 12 times the market size that Nashville is? So even if the Falcons don't have shit for a fan base, they still have 12 times the chance to have a bigger fan base than the Tennessee Titans do, who are smaller than Charlotte, North Carolina as a media market. And I only know this because we talked about it today on the radio show. These are the kind of things you are going to have to earn it. That's what it is at the end of the day. The Dolphins are also a national fan base. They're the last undefeated team in NFL history. There are Miami Dolphins. Every time I go to London to cover a Titans game, there are a million different Dolphins jerseys all over the place. Why are the Dolphins a national fan base? I have no idea. They haven't been good at any point in my lifetime, really. But they have more fans. That's just what it is. Like at the end of the day, Burning Devil 2010 on YouTube. That's odd. Nickname says, "Man, Buck, stop explaining the Falcons." You literally asked me to explain the Falcons to you, dipshit. I don't know what you want me to do. It's you asked me why the Falcons are on primetime all the time. I told you, because of who they're playing. Atlanta just happens to be the opponent. And again, they have an infinitely bigger sample size to pull from than Tennessee. That's what it is. Jack Tripper says, "Why are you still covering Titans games? Apply for the Colts or something?" No, they pay me a shit ton of money here. They shouldn't, but they do. So I'm very happy, and I love Nashville. And Indiana as a state sucks ass, and I have no interest in the Colts. Why do I care? The only Colts games I've ever been to in my life are games that I've covered with the Titans and the Colts. Got nothing to do with. I don't root for anybody. I just don't root for you. So you'll get over that eventually, or you won't, and I don't give a shit. But if you want the explanation, that's the explanation. So, with all the different things that you have at your disposal, which opportunity could hurt the Titans the most as far as their national perception? The answer is obvious. It's week 7 when Mike Vrabel comes to town. If they lose to Mike Vrabel and Drake May and the New England Patriots, who are also going to be a bad football team in 2020, who should be a bad football team in 2025, maybe they have a quarterback, maybe they don't. I think that that is the thing that will hurt them the most, at least as far as the dialogue. Will anybody get fired? I don't know. It depends on Amy Adams Strunk's mood that day. Bet your ass she is going to want something. She's going to want to beat Mike Vrabel because of how that situation ended, and because basically the entire NFL has been spending the last 2 years telling her that she was wrong for letting him go. She may end up being wrong. We have no idea. That game will not decide whether that singular game will not decide whether Amy Adams Strunk made a bad decision in firing Mike Vrabel or not. But it will affect the perception in a huge way. If the Titans, who people are looking around and being like, why would they fire Mike Vrabel? They don't have anything other than Mike Vrabel. And they let Derrick Henry walk. So what else did they have besides Mike Vrabel? They fired him for what? Because he wanted more control? Okay, give it to him. He's the only thing that matters in Tennessee, is how other people think about you. I think Mike made plenty of mistakes that cost him his job, and he probably should have been fired, even though I didn't agree with the decision to fire him. He probably should have been fired based on how that situation played out. So, the NFL, though, views you as the dumbass team that let Mike Vrabel go, and then he's treated with this like hero's welcome all offseason long. Mike Vrabel going home, Super Bowl champion Mike Vrabel, Patriots Hall of Famer, Mike Vrabel got a quarterback, Mike Vrabel, all these different things. He's got a really bad football team. In fact, they may have a worse talent profile than the Titans. It's at least arguable that way. But if where those teams are about on even keel with how they are both bottom feed or expect to be bottom feeders in 2025, maybe the Titans surprise us, maybe the Patriots surprise us, maybe they both do. Who's to say? Could end up being a good game in week 7. I don't know. But if they suck, if they both suck, and they still lose to Mike Vrabel, then people are going to shit on you for the rest of the season. I mean, that's what it's going to be, or at least for the couple of weeks after that fact. There will be a huge amount of dialogue, not about, it'll probably be more about the Patriots were right and the Titans were wrong, as opposed to, they just will continue to not give a shit about the Titans. That'll just give them more reason to not give a shit about the Titans. So, like I said, you guys can, whether you were for it, whether you were against it, whether you want him to succeed, whether you want him to fail, that's just what you can see the narrative now, right? Especially if the Titans are struggling, because the Patriots schedule, at least it reads a lot softer at the start of the year. Like the Titans schedule at the start, it's not easy. That's a really tough road. I mean, it's a great opportunity. Great opportunity is how they'll categorize it. And frankly, I think it's a great opportunity for them to prove that the rest of us are full of shit who don't think that they're capable of anything. Week 1 at Denver, home for LA and Indianapolis, at 3 straight road games before you face the Patriots. 4 of those first 6 games on the road, and one of them is against a team that could have played for the NFC Championship game last year. And the other one is a divisional rival that is probably teetering, but can still get you on any given day, the way that they got you the last couple of years. And then those 3 straight road games. You may not think much of the Raiders or the Cardinals or the Texans, but again, playing on the road in the NFL is difficult. And certainly that Denver game is going to be no slouch. So if the Titans are 2-4, hosting Mike Vrabel, and Mike's 500 and ends up coming out of that with a win, then that has the opportunity to do the most damage for them. All you got to do is go out there and win games. Easier said than done, right? God knows they've been trying, but it'll be curious. It'll be a fascinating situation to see. All right, weekend bounce back. I've rambled and raved and ranted enough at this point in time. We are going to get to who needs to bounce back most in sports this week. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. In the comment section, let me know who needs to bounce back, and I will let you know how I feel about the bounce back situation here momentarily, right after I remind you that the Primetime program is made possible by the wonderful people at TrueMap Fitness in the Gulch. TrueMapFitness.com is where you go. Your first workout is free. Nothing beats free. Free at TrueMap Fitness. That first time around, you'll be addicted. I promise you. The group fitness classes are awesome. The personal training, I think, is even better, but that's because I'm biased and I do personal training there. Their facility is just awesome. It's great to go work out. It's conveniently located. It's downtown Nashville in the Gulch, over there by Peg Leg Porker and Uncommon James, right smack dab in the middle of everything. I think Party Foul's over there too. No free ads. TrueMapFitness.com is where you go for that first workout free. No workout ever recycled or repeated. Just maximize your fitness goals with the best at TrueMapFitness.com. All right, who needs to bounce back at this point? The Knicks, after the loss to the Celtics last night. Yes, Boston really pulled away from them at home. New York had the advantage of a 3-1 lead in that series going in. Now it's very much up in the air as to whether the Knicks will be able to close it out. Next game's at Madison Square Garden. So that's big. The Warriors have no bounce back left in them because the Timberwolves eliminated them last night. Neither do the Cavs. They got bounced pretty summarily by my Indiana Pacers, which we love to see. Blue-collar gold swagger. I think that Lewis says, I'm going to say Bubba Wallace. I didn't see what happened to Bubba Wallace at this point in time. Derek says the Colts for the Microsoft thing. That is my answer. The Indianapolis Colts for deleting what was. I mean, I think the schedule videos suck at this point in time. I think some of them are like, okay. I don't think any of them are good anymore. I think we've jumped the shark pretty summarily on the schedule release videos. But honestly, I would argue that the Colts was the best just because you'll see.
Chicken jockey.
He's up to no good. Look out! Watch out! He's enveloping home.
Have to take a shower when he goes into halftime.
Stinks in there.
Bye.
Duval.
Yeah, that shit was terrible. It's really bad. All of these were way too long. The only highlight of that was Tyreek Hill as a Dolphin getting arrested, which apparently Tyreek Hill thought was funny, and Will Levis getting hit by a bachelorette party bus, in imagination land, not in real life. Of course, we would never wish any harm to happen to anybody in that situation. But yeah, that was pretty damn bad. And they had to delete it because apparently they didn't have the right Microsoft rights or good enough Microsoft rights, or they pissed off one of their partners. Either way, they had to put out an apology statement, not just because of how bad that was, but because of, because of how bad that was. I guess top to bottom. So that's going to do it for us tonight on the Primetime Show. That's going to do it for us this week. We appreciate you guys hanging out. One more radio show tomorrow. Coach Dave McGinnis of Titans Radio will join us. We will talk about all the ins and outs of the Titans schedule. We'll also do a new install with Greg Cosell tomorrow morning. That will be a great time had by all. Hope all of you have a great weekend. And I'm off next week. I'm off. I think I'm off every night but Thursday. Robert, lucky for you. So I will see you next a week from today. And I hope you guys have a great time in between. We will see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. on 104.5 The Zone.
Go home! Go home! Go home!